first question of three. Um, Reaction to the Sharks side for this weekend, and what will you be expecting from them?
Sorry, who's talking?
It's Nathan Ogela.
Okay.
Nathan.
Sorry, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a good side. I mean, they haven't made many changes. I read the article about consistency, and obviously that's their plan. I'm bringing a guy like Jaden, who I rate really highly, and he's played really well against us the last time we played. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good side. And top of the log, 10 points from 2 games. So we're looking forward to the game this weekend.
The second one, I know this isn't really related to the Bulls currently, but Roscoe Speckman in a recent interview expressed his grief and disappointment on the
Yeah,
way he found out he wasn't part of your plans. Can
yeah.
you briefly provide a comment on his statement and your opinion on Roscoe's ability as a 15th player?
No.
Then the last one, would you agree that Morgenstein and Chris Smith play the similar brand of rugby, hence the ability to easily rotate the two players weekly in the starting lineup?
No. In other words, they don't play the same brand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, Jan, yeah, interesting weekend. The two unbeaten teams at the top, clearly the two best teams this year and probably since last year, since the restart. Is there anything? I mean, it's a Currie Cup final replay, and you guys have been playing each other regularly for the last 6 months. Is there anything that's going to change this week to the way you guys approach each other, or do you know each other so well that it's all the same?
Yeah, Jan, it's interesting. It's a bit of deja vu for me because when I arrived here almost a year ago, they were the top of the pops. They were the team that supposedly were, chasing the Super Rugby title and were top of the league, I think, at that stage as well in the genuine Super Rugby league. So, now that a year later, it's exactly the same. They're riding high. They've got 10 points from 2 games, beat the Stormers really, convincingly in Cape Town. So it's a little bit of, as you say, it might be a little bit of a different year, but I think a lot of those things are very similar. They're a formed team. They're playing a lot on the fact that they've got a lot of confidence in their group. They don't have too many injuries. They can keep their consistent selection. And I'm sure, I mean, they know how we play. We know how they play. We took us, as I said, it took us 100 minutes to beat them in a Currie Cup final here. Because they're a good side, and I'm looking forward to playing the game again. It's a must-win for us, I suppose, because they've already got 2 points up on us with those 2 bonus points. So, again, it's like a bit like a Currie Cup final in that it's an important must-win game for us as well.
Jake, I just want to ask, is there going to be a trophy at the end of this? I mean, everybody talks about logs and points and stuff. Is there going to be a trophy or?
Yeah, no, I don't really know. I mean, obviously it's called the Rainbow Cup, so I would think there's somewhere there's a Rainbow Cup somewhere. But, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're only playing because there's a trophy. We want to try and win as many games as we can, get ready. There's a much bigger trophy that's at stake, in a couple of months' time. There's the Currie Cup, and then there's the genuine Pro 16 tournament, that we've obviously put our names in the hat for. So, yeah, even if there isn't a genuine physical trophy, I think the reality is we at the point now we want to win rugby games. We didn't play for a year with COVID, so I think it'll be nice to get on the field and continue that winning of which obviously we've done quite successfully in the last couple of months.
Jake, it must be morning, Cobus here. It must be nice to move somebody like Ulrich Low to the bench and bring in the experience of Arno Botha.
Well, it's now all 3 of our back rowers are Springboks. On the starting team are Springboks. Arno was in that green and gold squad at the beginning of the year. Probably hasn't taken his chance. Talking Springbok wise or nationally to put up his hand. He gets a great chance now against Sia. And obviously against Noche, who two players that have been earmarked for the alignment camps. Gives him a great motivation to actually play well against them. And saying that, I think that Ulrich is a fantastic rugby player. You've all seen how good he is for us. Played 80 minutes. I think it's only fair that we sort of give him a little bit of a breather, considering that, as I said, I got the fixtures during the week. It basically goes Rainbow Cup. Next week, Currie Cup starts. Then I think it's about 11 or 12 weeks of Currie Cup. Straight after Currie Cup, literally, I think the same weekend, the semi and the final, we go straight into the Pro 16. So, I mean, I'm going to have to, like all coaches, work out ways in which we can rotate certain players. So, Kobus, to give him a chance off the bench, who knows? Maybe he'll come in at 8 for Dwayne, or he might even go straight into 7. Maybe move Ono to 6. I don't know. We'll just see how the game goes. But at least he can cover so many positions, and he can give us a little bit of versatility off the bench.
Jake, I want to add to that. It seems that a guy like Marco van Staden is not in the box picture at the moment. Do you find that strange, given the performances he's delivering for the Bulls week in and week out?
Well, look, Kobus, let me say, I mean, I don't know how the Springbok selectors think, and I mean, to be fair to them, I've been in that position. They've obviously got a plan on how they see, their team going forward. All I can say is that he's like playing really good rugby for us. Is very important to our campaign. He's leaving, as you know, in July, and I'm trying to, I suppose, get as much out of him for the Bulls as we can. I think he understands. I asked him, if he wanted to leave earlier, not because I wanted to chase him away, just because I just wanted to know where. And he said no, he wants to finish his campaign properly and leave, when his contract ends in the end of June. So. Yeah, it's a difficult one for me, Kobus, because obviously I'm not in the inner sanctum of how the Springbok selectors are thinking. He's played really well, he's obviously, he's going to keep playing as hard as he can, and who knows, maybe he keeps bashing the door, he gets a chance. But, saying that, I've seen some of the media, they've got guys, the two Dupree brothers coming back from Sale that are loose forwards. They've got, I think Jasper Visa coming back from, and then they've still got all the players playing here. So, it's highly unlikely that I think he would jump ahead of them because he hasn't even been in those alignment camps. But, that doesn't mean he's negative. I must stress that he's very positive, wants to play, wants to do as well as he can for the Bulls. And that's obviously a great place for us to be when we can get the best out of a guy like him in the next couple of weeks.
Jack Percival Young van NS hier. Ek wil net vra 'n soortgelyke vraag soos Jan de Koning nog gevra het. Word daar 'n soort van 'n wenner aangekondig na hierdie naweek se kompetisie? En as dit die geval is Jake White en sy Blou Bulle dan desperaat om op 'n hoë noot af te eindig hierdie naweek?
Ja nee, Percival, daar's nie 'n wenner hierdie naweek nie. Ek dink dit voel soos 'n eindstryd omdat jy weet ek dink daar's nog 3 weke oor, so maar daar's baie dinge wat kan gebeur in die volgende maand. So dis nie 'n wenner vandag vir hierdie naweek nie, maar ek dink ten tyd is dit belangrik ons moet ons tuiswedstryd wen. Hulle het die Sharks het nou 10 punte van 2 games gekry, jy weet. So hulle is nou 2 punte voor almal. Dis soos 'n eindstryd vir ons. Ons moet seker maak ons kan hulle klop. Maar soos ek sê, daar's nie 'n wenner van die toernooi hierdie naweek nie. Daar's nog steeds 'n maand van rugby wat baie dinge kan verander.
Maar jy gesê die Curriebeeker begin volgende naweek.
Nee, die Curriebeeker begin die naweek na die laaste ronde van hierdie Rainbow Cup.
Ek vra dalk dom vra nog. Is daar 'n uitklop deel van hierdie kompetisie?
Nee, daar's 6 games. Jy speel 2 weg en 2 tuis teen almal. Of sou 1 uit tuis en 1 weg teen almal, so dis 6 wedstryde. En dan na dit begin die Curriebeeker. Dis die datum wat ons gekry het van SA Rugby af. So al wat ek jou sê is daar's rugby van nou af reg deur tot amper in November maand voordat ons 'n breek kry.
Jake, good morning everyone. Good morning Jake.
Morning Ken.
I'm sure a lot of people were very frustrated last weekend with all the captain's challenges and a lot of it seemed to be strategic in use rather than actually getting the right outcome on tries and that sort of thing. Is there any chance of a sort of captain's agreement ahead of this weekend that they won't be used like a weapon?
Yeah, Ken, it's interesting. I don't think it's actually been properly thought out, and I'm saying that's why it's relatively new, and you can probably use it the way you've said now as a little bit of a tactical weapon, but I think having got some feedback from Mark Lawrence and the SA Rugby referees that have now gone and sat with Pro 14 as it is now, I mean, the general feeling is that unless they are 100% sure in real time that they need to go back, we can't have a situation where we go back and look at every single breakdown to find whether or not there was something illegitimate that happened. I mean, I think common sense has come out in the last couple of weeks, not only in our tournament, in our part of the tournament, but also in the Northern Hemisphere tournament. I think our game took 2 hours and 6 minutes to be finished. That shows you how many stoppages there were. I think they lost 63 minutes, Ken, this last weekend in Pro 14 North and South games. 63 minutes for stoppages for referrals in all the games. Now that's an hour of non-activity. So I'm answering it by saying to you, we still need it. We need to make sure that we keep the game safe. We need to make sure we don't have head injuries. I'm stressing that because we want young boys to play. We want mums to be able to allow their sons to play rugby. But I think that as we trial it and as we move forward, I think the referees have also realized that if you stop and go back and find everything, if the angles are wrong or if you don't have the right camera angle and you slow it down, you open yourself up to a massive amount of criticism. Because you inevitably can get it wrong whichever way you go. If you see it not dangerous, then public will say, geez, that is dangerous. If you don't see it as dangerous, then they say you're condoning the fact that there's head clashes. So I think what I sort of chatted to Mark and them about was that unless they're 100% sure in real time, they see something and they see it and they for what it is and they let it go on, the chances are they're not probably going to let every single delay be stopped by a captain and question for a captain's referral, which again is a new weekend. And next week you ask me, Ken, and I say, geez, they should have stopped 4 times. So the balance is important, I think.
Possibly as a follow-up question, can I just ask you, and it feels like I'm playing catching up rugby. Last weekend, while I was attending your press conference after the match, I was watching I think a French rugby match on TV though. Are we moving towards a VAR system in rugby though, sir? Because I know in that French match, I saw a referee going to a screen and watching on the screen. Do I have this situation right, sir?
Yes, Percival. Well, it's not that. It's that every game is like that. We're just very fortunate that we have a big screen at most of our venues, and the referee can actually stay on the field and look. A lot of those stadiums in France, the small stadiums don't have a big screen, so they've got to find a small TV set where the referee can run down to the TV set and have a look. So it's exactly the same principle. It's just, I suppose, we're a little bit more fortunate in that we have stadiums that have got big screens for our referees to see the replays on the big screen.
Like, I see that Jan-Hendrik Wessels is going to be playing hooker in the club game this weekend.
Yes.
Maybe your thoughts about him going to hooker?
Well, my thoughts are very good, Brendan, because I put him there. So, that's why, I've been training him there and he gets a chance this week to go and play there, So, and I'm just very chuffed that the clubs have, that's I said, our club system's working fantastically well. I'm going to try him there, see how he goes. He's a good rugby player. I've said it to you many times. It's a bit like John Smith when I moved John Smith from prop to hooker. The reality was John was always going to make it. It was just I had to find a way for him to make it quicker, rather than later. And Jan Hendrik's exactly the same. If I look at the loose head props, and I'm not for 1 minute saying that he's not going to make it as a prop, I'm just trying every avenue I can. But you've got, just in the top of my head, you've got Sotoli, and you've got Lizo Goba, and you've got Kitsov, and you've got Oxenchair, and then you've got Ali Vermaak, and you've got, the list just goes on and on. Those are loose head props that are ahead of him. And you've got Matanzima that we've got here as well. It's highly unlikely that as a 20-year-old he's going to leapfrog all those guys. It's a tough ask. And then, tight head-wise, I've tried him there as well. So again, we're trying to find a position. But I suppose I'm jumping around, Brennan. He's a really good rugby player. Clubs are helping me. We've been working. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes this weekend as a hooker. So, hopefully if he comes off, then we get another added value to our squad.
Net op daai op jou stitte eintlik. Morney het verlede week, jy weet, die baie geldige punt gemaak, jy weet dat die enigste manier hoe hy en Gerard en Grobbies, jy weet, gaan, jy weet, regtig, jy weet, ontwikkel is om te speel. Jy moet seker verskriklik chuffed wees dat jy nou vir 3 weke in 'n ry hierdie manne, jy weet, ervaring gee, maar ook dat hulle elke week net besig is om beter te word. So eintlik baie ideale dinamiek, selfs in 'n toernooi met 'n bietjie meer stakes soos die Rainbow Cup.
100% Heinz. En ek dink die ander ding moenie onderskat nie is dat Trevor en Lizo en daai manne, jy weet, hulle voel die kompetisie ook en is 'n goeie ding. Ek dink as hulle weet as nie 'n gegewe dat elke week hulle is deel van die beginspan nie, dan is eintlik goed van. Kompetisie is 'n wonderlike ding vir enige iemand. So daai 3 wat jy nou genoem het speel ontsettend goeie rugby. Hulle leer as 'n kombinasie. Jy weet as hulle nou verlede week gespeel het teen die Springbok voorry, is dit ook, jy weet, 'n helse toets vir hulle en dinge wat hulle kan leer in 80 minute. So ja, soos ek sê, ons is baie bevoorreg dat ons nou in elke posisie amper diepte het waar die speler in die posisie weet as hy nie goed oefen of goed speel nie, dan is daar kans dat die ander man sy try kan wegvat. So ja, dis soos ek sê, ek sien uit dat hierdie naweek nog selfe voorry, hulle speel nou teen 'n Sharks voorry wat ook baie saam gespeel het, 2 voorrye wat lank saam gespeel het. So hopelik kan ons hierdie week sien hoe jy weet wat hulle geleer het in die laaste maand of so.
Okay, any more questions?
Jack Goldfabian van Ragas.co.za. Net 'n vraag, jou shoppinglys, almal praat altyd oor jou shoppinglys wat ek voel jy is heel geregtig om te doen wat jy wil, maar gaan jou geduld nie een of ander tyd met Jan Hendrik opraak en hom dan terugskuif onder 20ste wat dalk vir hom beter gaan wees?
Karl, ek verstaan nie, my geduld op wat? Kom ek sê vir jou, jy gaan sy naam baie neerskryf in jou loopbaan. Hy gaan vir die Springbokke speel in 'n 100 toetse, so my geduld gaan lank moet aanhou. So, hy's 'n ontsettende goeie rugby speler. Ek het lanklaas gesien 'n persoon wat soveel kan doen. As hy hakker kan speel en ek seker hy kan. Wat ek vir dit is nie 'n proef vir hom nie. Hy gaan hakker speel en hy gaan dit reg kry omdat hy het dit. Hy's 'n rugby speler. Hy kan alles doen. Hy kan hardloop, hy kan tackle, hy kan carry, hy skram, vaskop, loskop. Onthou hy's 'n jong mannetjie. So my geduld gaan nooit opraak nie. En dis deel van my werk is om daai tipe spelers deur te bring vir die Bulle en vir die Springbokke. So jy weet die manier, ek sê dit net nou vir Brendan, die feit dat die klub my help om hom bietjie fast track, om hom bietjie klub rugby te laat speel, om te voel dit in 'n voorry, miskien gaan hy teen jy weet 2 30-jarige skram, miskien gaan die hakker wat teen hom skram 40 jaar oud wees, maar aan die einde van die dag moet hy dit leer en hoe vinniger hoe beter, because sodra hy dit reg kry, gaan hy gaan 'n ontsettende goeie rugby speler wees vir die Bulle.
Ja, ons ken hom al van skoolvlak af, so ons het sy naam al baie neergeskryf. Kyk, dit is net, jy weet, ou voel asof hy nou loskop, vaskop, hakker toegeskryf word. Hy gaan een of ander tyd gaan hy moet settle in sy loopbaan.
Yeah, maar Carl, sorry, that's what it sounds bad in Afrikaans because I'm not, I suppose it sounds like, but he's such a good rugby player. That's what I think happened to him at Grey. They played him lock in standard 9, then they played him prop in matric. The point I'm making is he's so talented, I've got to find a place for him. And I'm not losing patience with him at all. I'm trying to find a reason to pick him because he's so good that I know that in my team in the next 6 months, 7 months, as we start developing this group together, he needs to be part of it. So I've got to find a place for him to be part of it. He's competitive. I've been lucky enough. I've coached for a long, long, long time, and he has an attribute that I see with the best players I've ever coached. Is he doesn't worry about age. He doesn't worry about pecking order. If he tells you in a non-arrogant way that he wants to play, and I've had that with Skalkberg. I've had with John Smith. I've had that with the best players I've ever coached are exactly like that, and that's why. Hy maak dit moeilik vir my Karl, because ek moet 'n plek vir hom kry. Hy's te goed om in die paviljoen te sit.
Jack, first of all, Jan, just a random question. Jack, as the director of rugby at the Blues Rugby Union, are you anyhow involved in women's rugby at the union?
Well, let me say this to you. I will be Percival, and I'm not underplaying that. That will be part of my brief. But at this point in time, having just got here and with COVID and with under 19s, under 20s, and then under 21s changing to under 20s, and the reshaping of our senior team, the priority for me has been looking after that. But I think once everything's going well, and once I think the system's in place in terms of juniors and seniors, I have no doubt that I will be going down to the women's game and making sure that our women's side is also strong. It's part of what we want to be at the Bulls. We want strong club sides, we want strong provincial sides, and we want a strong women's side. And saying that, this weekend we're owned by Patrice Motsepe as well, and Sundowns are playing in a massive football game. And even though it's not part of my brief, I wish them all the best this weekend. They've got a quarter-final clash, and we hope that they do well as well, because it's important for us as a union, to back all the teams that play in our stadium.
I'm just asking this question because I know the Bulls are hosting Western Province, the champions this weekend, and the women's side. And it seems like Rassie made it clear now in a couple of months ago that they are working very hard towards empowering women's rugby in the country at the moment.
Yes. Well, I mean, Percival, we stayed in the same hotel last weekend as the SA Rugby women's coaches and everything. We spent some time with them. I saw Stanley Robenheimer there. Then obviously the Boland team played Province in a curtain raiser. So look, I'm sure, as we get closer to normality, there will be some more time spent with the women's team as well, and obviously trying to assist them to grow the game as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Morning, Simon here. Morning, gents. Last question, perhaps the last two questions from my side. The penalty count must be some kind of a concern for you since your last game, and taking in consideration what Ken just asked about the referrals. That's the first one. And the second one, you've continuously spoken about the depth, the requirement for depth of players in your squad. I suppose that this becomes ever so more important, especially with the Springbok alignments as it is taking place at the moment.
Correct. So Simon, yeah. So let me quickly answer both questions. One is that the penalty count obviously is a concern, but the comfort I get is that I see the Sharks have also conceded an extraordinary amount of penalties in their last two games. So I think it's obviously the way that the game's been refereed, and I think again the way the game's been managed by the officials. Saying that, I mean, obviously we've got the best referee in South Africa this weekend. We've got Jaco Paper reffing the game. And I'm sure, I've got full confidence in him being a test referee. He blew that final. I know what we're going to get with him, and there's comfort in the fact that, we're going to work as hard as we can anyway to get our penalty count down. And it'll be interesting to see with the best referee in South Africa how it goes this weekend with the two teams, as I said, who've conceded lots and lots of penalties. And in terms of death, Simon, exactly that. I think if with COVID and with extended squads, I've got a plan for the likelihood that if the Springbok team goes into a bubble, if they play the Lions 3 tests, then I think they play Argentina in 2 tests, then they go into Tri-Nations quarantine overseas. I think then they play Australia, New Zealand. I don't know the exact dates, but if you look at it, they're probably going to be away from us for an extended period of time, also because of COVID and quarantine regulations, which means that if they take 45 players, we could miss out, quite a few. I'm sure the other teams are in the same boat. I'm just making sure that if we lose, whoever we lose, that we've covered that base as well. So, depth for me is important, and I'm sure you guys, maybe you're not aware of it, but I mean, because of the COVID, the rugby schedule changes all the time, and we played, literally right through Christmas, and then we finished the Currie Cup, and then we went into a preparation series, and I understand we need to play, and now we've gone into a Rainbow Cup. I mean, the irony is that we want to play rugby, but we've also got to be clever enough as a group and as coaches to manage our players and make sure that when we get to the back end of the Rainbow Cup, out of the Pro 14 or 16 as it's going to be, that we don't run out of players, because remember the test matches still go on in December, and we still got to make sure that we've got enough players to commit ourselves to all those fixtures and be competitive.